Is Bitcoin on track now, ladies and gentlemen? What I mean by that is, well, of course, Bitcoin moved upwards extraordinarily quickly from the end of September's 2023 correction all the way upwards to the peak here in March at 73K. That move was exceptionally fast, exceptionally explosive. It was fueled by things like the end of a 7-month consolidation and the start of the Bitcoin ETFs, both the anticipation of the ETFs and the actual reality of inflows going into the ETFs led the price to skyrocket to the upside extraordinarily quickly. And this actually led Bitcoin to find itself in a place where it had been overvalued for that time in the market cycle. We were not meant to go that high that soon. We were not meant to break all-time highs in March, 2 or 3 months before the halving. Generally speaking, the all-time high breaks out comes actually after the halving. In fact, significantly after the halving, 6 months after the halving usually. So we were about 200 days, more than 200 days ahead of schedule in March. And that is probably the best explanation you're going to find for why we have seen such an extensive consolidation in the months that have come past March, right? 7 months of consolidation right here, over 200 days of consolidation. And now the question is, well, after all of this consolidation, are we finally back to where we need to be? Is Bitcoin finally ready to move as per regular cyclical trends? And can we expect to move to the upside? The answer is literally, and this might shock you, not quite yet. We're actually still a little bit ahead of schedule, right? I'm going to show you that today. And just kind of giving you a reminder not to jump the gun. Don't get ahead of yourself here. Just because we've seen a little uptick, just because we've seen an uptrend form, we've seen a higher low. We'll get into all of this in the video and things like this, higher high. We haven't actually seen the breakout yet, and we shouldn't really be rushed here. We still actually are a little bit ahead of schedule, and we'll discuss everything in relation to that today. Guys, full cyclical analysis today. Let's get into it. Before we do so, check out the BitTuneX and BingX exchanges. I highly recommend you go down to the pinned comment below and click on my referral link to either BitTuneX or BingX. They are both global non-KYC, so you can sign up from anywhere in the world with no geographical restriction. They're both very low in trading fees. BitTuneX has never been hacked before. BingX has been hacked once after years and years of operation. Both very safe exchanges with reserves information, everything you need there. And with my referral link, you will get a 15% trading fee discount for your entire life on these exchanges. So every single buy, every single sell you make, 15% discounted. Can't go wrong with that. Use my links down below to sign up. Let's get into the content. So I want to start out with the most important thing, and that is understanding where we are on Bitcoin, understanding where we are on Bitcoin dominance as well. Because a major part of the bull market, aspect of the bull market that probably doesn't get enough attention in regular analysis when discussing cyclical trends is altcoin season. And altcoin season is basically a synonym for parabolia. Okay, when you see a parabolic phase in cryptocurrency, it lines up with an altcoin season 100% of the time, because in order for there to be a parabolic phase, you need maximum amount of greed, maximum amount of emotion in the market. And when there's maximum amount of greed, people aren't sticking to Bitcoin. Okay, they're putting their money from Bitcoin into altcoins, progressively more and more high risk altcoins to maximize their potential returns. And they're doing a complete disregard for risk. Okay, they don't care about the risk, they're just going for returns. That's parabolia. So when you see a bull market in cryptocurrency, it always lines up with an altcoin season. That's why altcoin season is a very good indicator, and Bitcoin dominance is a very good indicator for finding out where we are in regards to a parabolic bull market. We're not there yet because Bitcoin dominance has been continually rising, but there is something we can look at with Bitcoin dominance that is going to be very insightful as to when it should be starting if we are to follow the regular cyclical trends. Now, Bitcoin, 4-year cycle, everyone knows about the 4-year cycle, okay? It started out in 2012 with the very first Bitcoin halving, and it led to the first Bitcoin bull market. As you can see, first bull market starting after the first halving in 2012. From there, we saw a regular 4-year cycle with every single top and every single bottom since that point in time being perfectly predicted via an overarching date range trend. Okay, so the 4-year cycle date range trend is encompassing 5 or 6 separate little date range trends. I've color coded all of them. So go to the writing on the left-hand side of the screen, check out the color of the writing, and then go to the color of the date range measurement, and you will see that this is a color-coded chart and all the trends are easily observable. If you pause the video and you want to do that, you can do so. But basically, all of these date range trends go ahead and predict a top on Bitcoin if the 4-year cycle is followed in October 2025. So what does this mean? It means that the 4-year cycle, the thing that has overarched the Bitcoin price action in terms of tops and bottoms for the entirety of Bitcoin's lifespan since the first halving in 2012, is saying the top will be in October 2025. Now, is that guaranteed to be correct? No, it could be wrong. But of course, the trend is your friend until it ends. And so if we assume the trend is working, if we assume the trend is correct, the top will be in October 2025. Now, we can keep that in mind and go into a Bitcoin analysis here. How do we know that Bitcoin was ahead of schedule? We know that Bitcoin was ahead of schedule in March when it broke all-time highs because it usually takes, as per 4-year cycle, 1,100 days for Bitcoin to go from its bull market top to breaching that bull market top in the next cycle. So 1,100 days between all-time highs, or between the all-time high and the all-time high breakout. Now, this time, it did not take 1,100 days. It took only about 840 days, meaning, like I said before, we were at least 250 days ahead of schedule, which is an explanation for why we've been consolidating for so long. If it was to take the regular amount of time, 1,100 days, we would only be seeing an all-time high breakout in November. Now, here's the first part of the video that's very interesting, okay? It right now, as I speak, is the end of September. Okay, the all-time high breakout, as per 4-year cycle, was meant to happen in the start of November. So right now, if we were to go upwards on Bitcoin, right, today at the end of September, say we get there by mid-October, we would still be a little bit ahead of schedule because regular 4-year cycle is saying we're meant to be breaking all-time highs around the start of November, right? So that's around right over here, okay? We're still a little bit ahead of schedule. If we were to break all-time highs tomorrow, we'd be a little bit ahead of schedule again, and we'd probably be, loading up another long consolidation period like we've seen here. For us to get fully back on track, for us to be fully back on schedule with the 4-year cycle, it would actually be ideal if we consolidated just a little bit more here, maybe another few weeks, and then went upwards for a breakout in late October to breach all-time highs in early November. That would be the ideal structure, and that would get us fully back on track with the 4-year cycle. So even though we've seen all of this consolidation, we're still actually a tiny bit ahead of schedule. And so, I've been saying on my YouTube channel since early August, we're going to be seeing some clear definitive moves in September. And what I meant by that was we would be moving to the upside of a channel in September, which we've already done, and start testing resistance in September, which we're on the brink of doing. I didn't necessarily mean we'd be breaking all-time highs in September. I always said I actually think the all-time high breakout will come in October. I still think that will be the case. I think we will slightly front run the expected or what we're meant to be doing, which is a early to mid-November breakout. I think we'll probably front run it a bit and do it in probably sometime in October. It's hard to say when, just due to how pent up the market is. But anyway, that's all speculative. And of course, we haven't seen the breakout yet, so we can't actually be confident in that. We haven't seen a macro breakout yet. But I just want to go further with this analysis here because I'm actually missing out a pretty important part. So as per 4-year cycle, breaking all-time highs in mid, let's say early mid-November would have been the optimal kind of being on track with the 4-year cycle. But we can take it further. We can't just, do that based on a Bitcoin analysis. We can actually look at Bitcoin dominance as well. And we can say, well, okay, if Bitcoin is meant to break all-time highs in early to mid-November as per 4-year cycle, when is it meant to start the altcoin season? And we can do a similar date range measurement on the altcoin season chart, so on the Bitcoin dominance chart, and we can see that when altcoin season's begun historically, all right, so we look at the altcoin season in 2017, from when altcoin season, when Bitcoin dominance topped and when it started dropping downwards massively to when Bitcoin topped, it took about 300 days, okay, so 300 days of pure altcoin season to when Bitcoin topped. In the following cycle, in last cycle, it took about 315 days. If we are to assume it's going to take around 300 to 315 days again, which would be an adequate assumption to make because it's based on 4-year cycle, which is an overarching date range trend, and so we would expect the market to act in a similar fashion, it would take about 315 days again. And we know the top would be on Bitcoin at the start of October. So all we need to do is say, okay, 4-year cycle says it takes 315 days to see for an altcoin season. 4-year cycle also says the top's going to be in October. Therefore, what is 315 days backwards from October? Because that's when the altcoin season should start, right? And we see that the altcoin season should start in November. Now, this lines up with what we said before about Bitcoin. Bitcoin should have been breaking all-time highs in November as per regular 4-year cycle. And altcoin season should be starting in November as per regular altcoin cycle, 4-year cycle. And so what we can make a deduction based on that is that we should be seeing an altcoin season begin when Bitcoin breaks all-time highs. So a couple of things here to recap. I've kind of delivered this quite poorly here, but I want you to bear with me just so I can fully conclude here, summarize it, and just so you understand it fully. Bitcoin moved upwards too fast, too soon. The consolidation we're seeing now could very well be us getting back on track to where we are meant to be as per the 4-year cycle. If that is the case, an optimal time to break all-time highs would be mid to early November. And furthermore, we can deduct that in mid to early November, if we see that all-time high breakout around that time, that is when we should be starting altcoin season as well. So when Bitcoin breaks all-time highs, if Bitcoin breaks all-time highs, that should line up with the start of an altcoin season, and the optimal time to see that all-time high breakout to reconnect to the cyclical structures which we deviated so terribly from at the start of the year would be in early to mid-November. So fingers crossed for that. But I do want to kind of ground you in reality here. I may have unintentionally come across as ultra bullish in this video. I'm really not. I am leaning macro bullish, of course. I am macro bullish because we're in a macro bullish structure. We're not in a downwards trend. But I want to make something very, very clear, okay? I will not be confidently bullish. You know, I'd not be selling the house. I would not be selling anything ridiculous to buy Bitcoin or anything like that, or taking debt out to buy Bitcoin or anything like that in general. But if I was to be stupid enough to do something like that, I certainly wouldn't be doing it until we saw a macro breakout. The fact of the matter is we are still in a macro consolidation. And so there is a little bit of uncertainty that underpins this entire price range here. Until we actually see a breakout of this macro structure, there's no reason to be massively bullish. You can lean bullish, you can be cautiously optimistic, but being massively bullish in this structure right here is irrational. This is not a period of time where I'm buying altcoins. I've been very clear about that. I don't believe in making macro decisions without macro confirmation, and macro confirmation, in my view, will only come when Bitcoin breaks upwards, will only come when DXY breaks downwards definitively, and will only come when Ethereum as well breaks above its resistance. But we'll discuss all of those things more extensively tomorrow. I just wanted to give you an update about where we are cyclically speaking today, and I think I've done that to an adequate capacity. So guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Before we end it, the Bitunix and BingX exchanges, the two exchanges I advertise on this YouTube channel, my 15% trading fee discount referral links are down below. All you need to do is click on those links, sign up to those exchanges, and get those discounts. You're also getting access to great exchanges as well. I've handpicked them myself. I know very well that they are good. So go ahead and do that if you're interested. I'll mention 2 or 3 more things here. One of them is the VIP group on Telegram. I trade altcoins on VIP 4 times a week. I post my altcoin trading signals, my buying zones, my selling zones, everything you need to trade altcoins is posted there 4 times a week. And those signals, I've been posting them for 2 years. They've got a 78.3% win rate, all transparently measured in a PDF document that you can access. Okay, so all the results for the last 2 years, you can access the wins, access the losses, see what's going on there. Check out that VIP group if you're interested. Second last thing, Crypto Academy's course. If you're interested in learning how to trade, you can do so right here. We teach you TA, we teach you everything you need to know in a self-guided course. Takes about 30 hours to complete, very reasonably priced, even more reasonably priced on the sale, limited time sale right now. So if you want to learn TA, you want to become a trader as per the title of the course, you can do so. Check out the website down below. And the last thing, guys, my podcast, JS Quinn. Check it out if you're interested in philosophy. That's your place for it. Philosophy, maybe a bit of politics, maybe a bit of history. It's all dashed in there. If you're interested in any of those titles you see on the screen right now, check it out. JS Quinn, I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Catch you tomorrow.